All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been attempting to teach anyone watching these videos the Java programming language based basically on an iterative payroll system that I've been creating. And I also have created an additional program, all right, but just so that you're aware of it, I'm trying to, again, base this stuff off of pretty much what's in the book here, are starting out with Java from control structures through objects, 6th edition by Tony Gaddis. I've done examples more or less for pretty much for the first 10 chapters. Chapter 11 is on exceptions and file I/O. Before I go through that, I wanted to mention quickly, because I talked about this before, I am going to talk to you a little later, or show an example of an anonymous inner class. I don't want to go into it right now. It's a class within a class, all right? But we'll talk about that in a little bit. And in addition, I'll see if I can find some kind of an example of a fairly simple lambda expression and put that in there also. But in Chapter 11, we talk basically about exceptions. Now, we did get into exceptions in the last chapter, but when I ran the stuff for the last chapter, I didn't put any errors in there. So in other words, if we look at the program that we had previously, all right, this is the one that we just did with the commission, hourly, etc. Notice, had I gone in and in my driver, all right, as an example here, what did we say? Let's put a few errors in here. All right, so we've got hourly, sal. Let's make this hourly 1. And then let's create another one. Okay, so this will be hourly. In fact, let's call this hourly good. And then we'll put a few in here, and I'm going to take all of this that's here. I don't know if can I comment out. It doesn't let me comment out it. Column selection mode, no. I just want to comment all of this out at one time here. There. That's what I wanted to do. All right, so I'm going to have an hourly good, and I'm going to put it in hourly bad. All right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this name out. And do a file, save all, and run this. And notice when I do, I get everything's cool here, and notice unknown FN. So that is working. I'm trying to check all of my stuff here. All right, so that's hourly bad 1, and we'll make 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 5 of these. All right, so that was hourly bad 1. Let's make hourly bad 2. And in here, we'll put this in. And this isn't bad, so to speak, but I'm just trying to test everything that I've got in here. That's all. All right, so now I should have Jeff, whereas before I had unknown FN Scott, now I should have Jeff unknown LN, if this works. There it is. All right, so that one worked. Why am I doing this? Because you should always go back and try to check all of the stuff that you have in here, and I didn't do that, so shame on me. I'm going to leave the social security number out, and I don't know. I think I had a check for an unknown social security number, but I don't know. Now I can go back and check my code, or I can just go run this again. Unknown SSN. All right. Doesn't have a first name. What is wrong here? Up. So let's run that again. File. Say, well, you see I can't have multiple things technically wrong with this. So here's my good record, there's my bad one. All right, those were all okay, but none of those involved me actually, none of those actually involved me calling an exception. This next one will. So this will be 4, as will this. Now I'm going to put in an invalid. Remember, your hours worked were to be between 0 and 84. So I'm going to put 100.0 in here, which is actually an erroneous condition. So, File, Save All, Run my demo. And you'll notice, oops, hourly, that was on me. Let me try that again. Let's File, Save All, Run. Now you'll notice it did throw my illegal argument exception, and this was my message. Hours worked must be between 0 and 84. And I put in something that was invalid. So that worked. Let's try one more. This will be hourly bad 5. And this time, I'll put in an invalid, all right, an invalid pay rate. And you'll notice it throws the illegal argument exception. Hourly rate must be between 0 and 250. So the good news is all of my error conditions are working. That's great. It really and truly is. All right. So next I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do the same thing for my I'm going to do the same types of things, but for my commission worker. All right, so all right, so that is valid now, and I can even take this one that I was using. That's my hourly. All right, and I had a bad 1, bad 2, bad 3, bad 4, and bad 5, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parameters. Whoops, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parameters. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this just to make my life a little bit easier and to make this go a little bit faster. All right, so there we go. So we will call this ComGood. All right, and we're going to do the same exact type of thing here. This will be ComBad1. Okay. And we're going to do the same kind of thing in here. We'll leave that blank. All right, and I'll actually just put in these because I know they're valid. All right, and then this will become Combat 2. And again, we'll do the same thing. Then we'll do Combat 3. All right. Followed by Combat 4. And Combat 5. Now I'm going to change all these. All right. So here I'm going to have to make some mistakes. So I'll put in and here, and we'll put in like that. All right, so that I'm just setting up all of my error conditions. All right, so file, save all. Let's run this. And you'll notice, again, my hours worked. What is that from? Trying to figure out why I'm getting that. That was good. Illegal argument exception. I wonder, let's go check. So in my commission, should have said sales must be between, or sales rate must be between. Why am I getting hours worked must be there? So let's check. File, save all. Well, I want to see if I fixed it or if I made it worse. No, I'm still getting hours worked, and it says it's hourly on line 56, right there. But this is not an hourly employee. So why am I getting that kind of an error? Payroll driver. You'll notice that that's working, but it's, hello. That's got to be commission. The answer is always in the code. All right, so let me change all these. Otherwise, I'm going to run into the same problem. All right, so let's clear that. File, save all, run. So I get my record, again, unknown FN, so I know that works. I can keep printing out my good one, that's not a problem. File, save all. Now, this is all that this particular tape is going to be, but I should have done this previously. Unknown LN. Okay, this is going to have my name on it, so these should all be Sandy. But that's, again, that's not really that big a thing in the mainstream of things. Okay. File, save all, run it. Again, there it is. All right. So I know that second test works. Let's do a third. Mission Combat 3. Why am I getting an error? That's why I'm getting an error. File, save all. This should give me an unknown SSN, and it does, so that works. Now these next two examples here, both of these should blow up. All right, so let's get back. Let's do all this. So I've got this is a bad sales, this is a bad rate. And you'll see sales must be, and it's out of range. All right. So that one works. Let's try the last one here. Which has got everything valid except it has an out of range rate, because that would be 250%. All right, so let's try that one. File, save all. Let's clear this. Run. And again, sales rate must be between 1 and 33. Good. That's all working. So those tests all work. Now I'm doing a modified version. You wouldn't really call these unit tests, all right? But at least it somewhat is like using unit tests. All right, so let me move this down. All right, we've got our salaried employees here. So again, I'm going to copy that. 2, 3, 4, 5, that's fine. And we will call this first one sell good. The second one will be called sell bad 1. Next one, sell bad 2. The next one, sell bad 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I only have to do 4 of these. And this one will be sell bad 4. All right, so for this first one, again, this is a good one. This is the second one I'm doing here. So comment out that one, comment out that one, comment out this one. All right, so this will be leaving the first name out. The next one will be leaving that out. Then we will leave out the social security number. Oops. And finally, we will put in something here that's out of range. All right, so file, save all. Let's run it again. And you'll notice we get what? Well, I could have commented that one out, but we get unknown FN, so that test worked. I can now comment this one out. This next one should say unknown LN. You can tell I'm running the same tests over and over again, but I'm not. And what I mean is I'm running at different parts of the code. It's the same type of test, but technically I'm running it on different data. All right. So number 2 worked. This one should say unknown social security number. Oh, we got an error because that's a bad 3, and that was and then one was a 3 and one was a 2. Unknown SSN, that's good. And then finally this one, this should give me an error where my exception is actually thrown. Weekly salary must be between, and it was. Okay, so far all of my tests that I have run have worked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, we will need all right. So this will be piecework good. This will be PW bad 1. This will be PW bad 2. This will be PW bad 3. And PW bad 4. So what did I do here? I've got a good one, bad 1, bad 2, bad 3, bad 4. I need one more bad one. So this will be PW bad 5. All right, this one will have a bad for piece worker here. I'm going to put in here 10. All right, and that's an illegal amount. Everything else is fine. This is going to be an illegal amount, and everything else is fine. This is going to be blank. This is going to be blank, and 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I did have. Oh, and this is going to be blank. All right. Again, these situations where I just have a field missing, I'm not calling an exception there. But I'm testing it nevertheless to make sure that the code that I'm writing is actually correct code. All right, file, save all, run. So the first record should be valid. The second one should have unknown, okay, as you see. And I can now comment out that record for Taylor, which has got to be up here someplace. There it is. All right, so I know this one works. That worked. That worked. And the last two should actually be throwing my exceptions. This test and then the next one. And you notice it does, because I put in the number of pieces must be between where is it? 1 in 1,000, and I put in 2,500. Okay, so that test worked. My last one, the price per piece, the minimum or maximum is $1. I put in $10. So again, File, Save All, Clear, Run the program. And again, you see price per piece must be between a penny and $1. So all those tests worked. Now, what I do want to mention to you, hopefully this goes without saying, but I'm saying it anyway. What I just did was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I ran 22 tests right there. And out of those 22 tests, all right, more than half were not erroneous conditions, but I wanted to check my code to make sure that in my code, if something was supposed to be set to a default value, unknown FN, unknown LN, unknown SSN, that it was working. And I also wanted to test and make sure, okay, that this worked. I'd still have to come through here, and I'd want to check, for example, for this good that we had, the good hourly, I'd still want to come through here and, for example, put in 50 and 10. Why am I doing that? Well, let's run it first and find out. All right. Whoops, I put in 105. Just clear that. File, save all, run. So why did I do that? To make sure the overtime calculation still worked and was working correctly. Every time you run a program, you are, in essence, testing that program. All right? Before I finish, again, an exception is an unexpected event or error. An exception is thrown. When you look at and you say someone is exceptional, you typically mean it in a good way. In programmees, it's not in a good way. All right, Java lets you create your own exception handlers. What I did in the last program, in these examples I just ran for you, I used system built-in exceptions, not my own. What do I mean? I can grab any one of these. I'll just grab commission. This is a Java exception. I'm telling the system, if something's out of range, throw that exception. What I'm going to do next, and I'm going to do here a file, save all, a file, close project, and I'm going to go and in my next project here, all right, which will be payroll number 11, what I'm going to do in there is that I'm going to write a very, in some ways at least, it's going to be a very simple program, but I'm going to add my own exceptions into it. The last thing I want to say about this is there are other ways of testing other than just using exceptions. I'll come back and talk about what I mean by that. In just a couple minutes.